I just got a comment from a client and it fired me up to shoot this video for you. And here's what he said in the comment. Jack, cool side story. My 62-year-old neighbor told me I feel 10 years younger after doing fascia hopping for 8 days. Like you say, he found a rhythm and it changed everything. So the question you might be asking is, how the heck does this 62-year-old guy feel 10 years younger after 8 days of fascia hopping? And the answer is the exercise is designed to restore your elasticity. And I'm going to show you fascia hopping today. That's today's exercise. But before I do that, I want to make sure you know what exactly is elasticity. So think of, have you ever had an old pair of underwear where they got so old and worn out that the waistband lost its elasticity and they kept sliding down? As goofy as it sounds, your fascia, that tissue that surrounds all your muscles, think of that film when you cut into a chicken breast, that's fascia. Well, your fascia is a lot like the old underwear. When you get old, your fascia loses elasticity. And when you lose your elasticity, it's a problem. What happens is you start to lose that spring in your movement. Now your muscles have to work harder than they should. This creates imbalances. The imbalances lead to weakness, loss of coordination, loss of agility, injury prone, all the things that make getting old a pain in the ass. Think of it this way. The enemy of elasticity in your body is two things. One is tension. The body can't be bouncy or springy with elasticity if you're tense or if you got slack in the system. So we want to stretch the fascia wetsuit just right where it's taut internally, but not so taut it's tense. We're going to do that right now by getting our alignment straight. So go ahead and suspend the head. Think of the hand of God grabs you by the top of the hair, just kind of gives you a tug. It straightens out your neck. Your chin is parallel to the floor. Your chin isn't cocked. Okay? So now your head is up, suspended up. And think that your shoulders are down, head up, shoulders down. So we got this upward pressure up with the head, downward with the shoulders. That puts a stretch on the fascia wetsuit. Now let's get a stretch left to right. Spread the chest gently, spread the upper back gently. Now we got a stretch left to right. The fascia wetsuit has a little more stretch in it. Think of the fascia wetsuit as like a Spider-Man suit of fascia that covers the muscles. It's an imagery thing, that's why I use it. Okay? So now that we got this stretch going on, I want you to think of taking the shoulders, they're down, remember. Think of gravity sending the mass, the weight of your shoulders down into your center. Kind of your midsection in the front and the back. It's a subtle feeling, but if you get your shoulders down, you'll feel a little more mass in your midsection. We don't want the shoulders to float. Once the shoulders creep up into the ears, we're disconnected and the fascia wetsuit is leaking power. So we keep those shoulders down so the mass goes into the belly. Okay, next we're going to go down to the springboard feet. What I want you to do is get on the balls of your feet and just raise your heels an inch or so. Just that much. And go ahead and just bounce gently right there with the heels up. Feel that. Now what I want you to do is the FSP dance, I call it, Fascia Strength and Power dance, where you keep the alignment stretched. The fascia wetsuit is stretched up and down, left to right. And I want you to make this movement here with your arms. And you can see my hips are kind of doing this Elvis thing. But I'm not moving from my shoulders and my hips. I'm thinking of my center. It's the engine of the movement rather than my shoulders and my hips. Think of the center as kind of like doing a figure eight, almost like a belly dancer. Now as I do this FSP dance, what I'm telling myself is I can keep the stretch in my alignment, the fascia wetsuit. I can keep the stretch up and down and left and right, but I'm not so stretched tight where I can't do the FSP dance. I want just enough internal stretch where I feel the stretch but I can move freely. That's the key to building fascia strength. Internal stretch, but moving freely. All right, so we got that going. My heels are up. Now I'm going to put my arms down, keep the stretch, and I'm going to just start moving a little more up and down on the ball, using the balls of my feet and my toes. My heels are kind of fixed. I want them to be fixed. I don't want them flopping up and down. When I do that, all the energy dissipates out of my legs, out of my feet. Instead, if I keep my heel fixed, the ground force bounces off the ground and comes back up into my body. Kind of a springboard effect. Keep the heel fixed. Now, if you got injuries or you're up in years and you don't want to hop and leave the ground, this is as far as you go. You just stay in this position and spring up and down without leaving the ground. Just like this. Now, if you are able, you start hopping. Get a couple inches off the ground on each hop. And as you can see, my heel is staying fixed. I don't want it loping up and down where it leaks all the power. Keep the heel fixed and bounce. So this is fascia hopping. The fascia wetsuit is pulled internally stretched, but not so stretched that I can't stop and do FSP dance. Okay? So a good workout plan to get some lift off of this exercise is do this for 2 minutes every day for the next 7 days. And here's the key. 1, you got to get in the right alignment like I just showed you. But 2, and this is very important, think of finding a rhythm. Don't just clunk around hopping. Find a rhythm, like a ba-bump, 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 ba-bump. Because if you find a rhythm, what you're doing is you're turning off muscle tension and turning on your elasticity. Think of a dancer. A dancer can't be tight. They use their elasticity. That's why they move so well and look so graceful. So think of doing the fascia hopping with a rhythm. And every day for the next 7 days, you do your 2 minutes. You think of being more smooth, more rhythm than the last time you do it. If you use that barometer as your progression, rhythm and smoothness, you will build elasticity in your body with fascia hopping. One little thing I do when I'm hopping, I think I'm a human pogo stick. You know, a pogo stick has that spring at the bottom, so when kids are on it and they do the pogo stick, the spring compresses when they force down onto it, and then that spring releases, and then the pogo stick is like self-propelling. So think of yourself as a self-propelling pogo stick with rhythm. Remember being a kid and you could wake up and just blast out of bed and run and gun all day. You were playing, you were climbing, you were running, you could sprint, you could wrestle, all of it with little effort. That was your body's, your fascia's elasticity at work. Every step had bounce, every movement was spring-loaded from all that elasticity. That kid-like elasticity is what we're trying to restore with the fascia hopping in my other fascia strength exercises. I just added an advanced version of fascia hopping to the Fascia Strength and Power course. If you own the course, go ahead and log on, go to the bottom where the bonus section is, and look for the exercise called Advanced Fascia Hopping. If you don't own the course, go ahead and I'll leave the link down below in the description. You can take a look if you're interested. That's all I have for you today. We'll see you on the next video.